Hey, welcome back to the First, the Last, the Nerdom, your ultimate stop for all things geek, freak, and everything in between. We're the first, the last, and the chaotic middle ground of the nerd world, where no fandom is too obscure and no movies too disturbing, or so we like to think. This week, we're continuing our descent into horror madness with round two of the Terrifier Challenge. That's right, ML is back in the hot seat, and things are about to get even bloodier and weirder. And let's be honest, well, way more traumatizing. If you caught the first round, you know ML took on Terrifier 1 with a mix of bravery, confusion, and had to pace himself. He came out the other side, let's just say he's still not quite sold on the whole Art the Clown experience. He's got questions, he's got concerns, and we've got popcorn and front row seat to the mayhem. Now it's time to see if he can make it through the over the top insanity that is Terrifier 2 with the epic runtime, nightmare fuel, and next level gore finally break him? Or will this be the moment he finally sees a twisted genius behind the clown paint? One thing's for sure, this ride's not for the faint of heart, so strap in, horror nerds, because things are going to get, well, terrifying. And Mike is at an undisclosed location. He's on the run. He's
Yeah,
a little terrified of Art the Clown. So,
Me and Art have a long history here as we do our own thing. But I will say, um, you didn't break me. All right, Art, I see where you are. And you know
yeah.
what? I appreciate your artistic representation of the horror genre. And God damn. This
Yeah.
one was such a loop from the first meeting of Art and
Mhm.
Terrifier 1, which you can see on our original
Mhm.
recording of covering Terrifier 1.
Mhm.
We haven't even got into the whole thing, the universe that
Mhm.
is Art, because this
Mhm.
thing went gangbusters and like went crazy.
Mhm.
Um, Prequel, all that good stuff.
Yep.
Maybe if you're lucky enough, we'll get into that. But first,
Mhm.
did Terrifier 2
Mhm.
break
ML.
ML? I don't know, but I will say this. We are in our plugging stage, and before
Mhm.
we get into anything here for this week's episode, we
Mhm.
are Mike and Tom, the
Mhm.
first, the last, the nerdom, or as Tom so eloquently and succinctly put it, first, last, nerdom.
Mhm.
So you can find all of our latest, greatest things. If you want to comment, great, awesome.
Mhm.
Also, Tom is head up of our social media division, and he has the ends on Reddit. So Tom, take it away.
Yeah. I promote us on subreddit on Reddit under subreddits that might be cool with us. Like the top one, I tried to promote us on the Terrifier subreddit, but they banned us. Looks like, but good old Tubi Tubi likes us, and we promoted there. But yeah, so you might see me creeping and crawling around different subreddits promoting us. You may have come from a subreddit. If you did, hey, hello. But yeah, I'm also on X under FirstLastNerdom. And we had a little bit of a treat. I don't know if it's his official account, so I don't know if it's actually him, but looks like a David Howard Thornton retweeted us or re-xed us or whatever it's called now on when I promoted our Terrifier, which you may know David is the actor behind Art the Clown. So if it's the actual David, thanks for retweeting us. I tagged you on my original post, so thanks for noticing us. And yeah, it helped with the engagement of it. I think that's the tweet that got the most views for me so far.
I gotta say, 741. That's good. That's really good. I mean, it is what it is. But
Mhm.
also on X is me. I'm ML ApeIt_Ink. You can find me by crazy musings, mainly political. I like to keep it fresh and clean with Tom, and occasionally I will send over something to Tom, and we'll discuss something. Sometimes because it's fancy, sometimes not, but all the same, I'm also available on ApeIt.Ink. Of course, they didn't plug in the thing. Of course, it won't go to the go away. Well, it is what it is. So there we are. Oh, there's my site. More long form things that you wish to see. I have Civil War. I am very much in deficit for warfare, which me and Tom may or may not get into later. But all the same, I would also like to say this is a new thing that I'm doing. And it is so positive and wonderful to have a discussion about current events and things which are not based in blood or treasure. It is just come as you are, and we accept all America's Talk Show with my other friends, co-hosts Raul and Raleigh. Raul is from California, Raleigh's from Austin. So and me from St. Louis. We're doing our best to do the thing, but more importantly, we are here for Terrifier. Spoil the surprise there. Terrifier 2, and God damn, Tom, I gotta say, it was quite an event getting to this stage. Oh my God. So I think what I'd like to do is like spend about 20 minutes to talk about the general things about it and then go into spoiler territory because there's so much there to explore. But I don't want to run it for the people that haven't seen it. And if you see the hat, you know me and Tom are friends of cinema for you. We try to find the best and the brightest for you, and we are here doing our thing. And this thing is powered by Tom, who has such immense patience. And thank you so much, Tom. You have been so resilient for my connection foibles trying to get this thing going out. But
no worries.
If you see this in the future, I will say just heap praise upon Tom and what he brings to the table because he is really driving this thing that we're doing this challenge. and I gotta say, Tom, I saw the first one, and it's not about being macho or whatever. It's just about sensibilities and what is for you or not. But I will say, as this thing, long story short, as this thing went on, this is a refined horror masterpiece that we have before us, and we haven't even got to the third one, which we might not get to the third one. So stay tuned and see what we're going to say about Terrifier 2 from our first visit, my first visit to 1 to 2. But I'll let you go handle it from there. Where do you want to go from there, my friend?
Yeah.
So much to cover. Oh my God! What did you get me into?
Yeah. Well, this is I think the movie that Damien won, Damien Leone, who is the writer, director, and special effects extraordinaire on both movies, on the whole series. But I think this is the story that he wanted to tell, and I think Terrifier 1 was the movie that he was able to get made to get to this. And if you look at both Terrifier 1 and Terrifier 2, there's such a overlap of time that they're kind of integrated with each other because parts of Terrifier 1 it takes place during Terrifier 2. So there's like it's almost like Terrifier 1 is sort of like a flashback, and Terrifier 2 is the story proper. And Terrifier 1 sort of breaks all of the rules of a slasher movie, and you have a final girl that gets through pretty much unscathed. That doesn't really happen in Terrifier 1. So there's a lot of rule breaking Terrifier 1, and Terrifier 2 it kind of gets back to the meat and potatoes of a slasher movie is, but then expounds upon it and then goes wild with the mythology and take things further than any other slasher movie has done before. So yeah, it's again, it's Art the Clown. He's wrecking havoc on the world, but we're introduced to a female protagonist, Sienna, who looks to have like almost equal footing with the clown. But yeah, so the one of the criticisms of the first one is that there wasn't really a narrative. It's just basically Art the Clown just having his way with people and killing them off in interesting ways. This does actually kind of develop into we get to know this family that's seems to be for some strange reason Art's focus here. He's kind of circling in on this family of Sienna, Jonathan, and their mom, who have recently their father has died in a tragic way. So they're kind of coming to terms with this in their own different ways. Sienna's making a costume out of a character that her dad created for her. Her brother Jonathan's kind of getting into the darker side of life, maybe trying to understand what a psycho killer Art the Clown is and what makes him tick, to maybe just to understand the world. And the mom's working looks like a almost constant job. She looks like she works from home and she's trying to keep everything together. So there is sort of like this family dynamic that is built into this story that makes it a little bit more personal. And Art kind of takes a backstage a little bit in this movie to kind of bring them to the fore.
Yeah, no,
but yeah,
he does. He does.
But yeah, the Sienna's a very welcome character. Damien said that he kind of based her on his sister. That she's kind of got a lot of the same strong-willed attributes that the character has in this. And she's for main character, she's very engaging. The actress herself, I think, is also like a martial arts specialist, which that doesn't really get into play in this movie, but you could see that she can kind of handle herself in this. There's a lot more mythology to this, but yeah, Mike, what was your first impressions of this movie?
I saw Art One or Terrifier One, and you're right. He really Boomer Juice. There we go.
Juice, yeah.
Salute. But I'm still developing how I feel about this for the whole thing, but on the whole, I felt like this is badly needed because you're right. It does take the first one. There's no plot. I mean, if you want to get really, if you want to get really tight in it, the first one is a pure play upon what horror is or could be, and it executes on that in a way that you don't know how to take. And so I can understand for the uninitiated where they would reject it, but if you stick with it, there is development there. And we'll get into that here. The first 20 minutes we'll do the general play of the thing, and then we'll get into the the spoiler. We'll call it out. So the first one took me a little bit to adapt to, I don't know. I feel, but in the end, I wanted to see the second one. And it was way over the top for what it is, and that'll come later on. But I really love how even on, and this was true for this first one. It had 10K for the thing, and
Mhm.
30 days or whatever, and it
Mhm.
made millions of stuff. Truly rare in Hollywood.
Mhm.
My understanding is this had a little bit more money, but it was essentially the same thing. I mean,
Yeah.
it made more money, but I get it. I hate to say this, it's foreshadowing, but I'm kind of a Terrifier fan. Like, even though it disgusted me on so many levels,
Mhm.
um, and I thought that the first scene that we could, if you're in the uninitiated, the first Terrifier, there was like one scene that is like the thing,
Mhm.
where you go straight down the middle.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, yeah. It's what it's sort of like. There's like a one set piece in the first one that everybody talks about. There's yeah, a cutting in half of someone, so to speak. But yeah, it's sort of like
Brutal. Very brutal.
yeah, it's a brutal movie that makes you kind of kind of test you to see if you could make it through the whole thing. Like we said, it doesn't have too much of a story. It's it's the guy who made it comes from a special effects background, so you could tell he's reveling into the fact that he has no restrictions. He could do whatever he wants. It's like I said, he got private funding for it, with the caveat that he could do whatever he wanted to. So he went wild and did did whatever he wanted to in that. Whereas this one, he again had more money, and so that he could cultivate. And he actually, when he did the first movie, everybody on it were working other jobs as well. On this one, he could focus in on it, and I think he took a few weeks to actually, or months to actually write the thing, so that he could do it justice. And you're right, he did get the funding for the movie, and then he wanted to do an Indiegogo again, like he did. I think he did an Indiegogo or a Kickstarter for the first one. With this one, the goal was 50,000, so that he could work on the special effects. Just add the icing on the cake for the special effects. He ended up raising $250,000, so 400 times the amount that he was planning on getting. So he got to expand and do so much with that. And then at the end of of each movie, the first one and the second one, he has the backers list, and the backer list on the second movie was so much more. There's so many more people, and I think the higher tier ones actually got to be extras during the dream sequence portion of the movie, of the second movie. So that must have been cool. Unfortunately, me and Mike weren't fans back then, so we weren't able to get in on that. But I'm sure that was quite a bit of fun for those early adapters to the movie and fans. But yeah, that's and but yeah, so this movie, again, a big long movie, 2 hours and 20 minutes. That was one of the things I was kind of concerned with when I first started watching it, is like,
Mm.
how can you make a horror movie, especially a slasher movie, that long, but he does have enough story there. Now there once we get into spoilers a little bit later, I think they could probably have trimmed down a little bit of the stuff at the end, because there's some fights that kind of maybe went on a little bit longer or could have been combined,
There,
but
where the first one was tight and efficient, this one plays a little bit more. It has a little bit more filler, but it still works for what you're getting. I would
mhm.
say. But go on, go on.
Yeah, I did enjoy myself during the whole movie. Again, this movie, I came to it as my second viewing. I haven't seen these like 100 times, like I'm sure a lot of the big fans of the series have seen it. yeah, this time I was just as engaged. The first time I watch a Terrifier movie, I'm kind of there's a sense of anticipation, but also a little bit of a dread because it's like, oh, what's in store for me now, and will I be able to will that this scene push me over to the point where I become not a fan? There's that play with this franchise where it's like, okay, is my line the same line that the writer director is going to go up to? Because the writer director is going to go straight and onto the edge, and if not a little bit over the edge. So there's that thrill of will I stay on with this film or not? And so on the second viewing, all the stuff that you're going to go through, and you can kind of start analyzing the movie a little bit more, and kind of understand maybe what he's pushing for. And I think it's not an accident that Art's named Art. It's almost like you can take it literally, like, is that really his name? Because maybe he's, creating this tableau of destruction and then labeling it art. This is my art. So, it's also a kind of a double. Mhm.
Well, I was going to say
There's kind of a.
it brings such
Go ahead.
refinement to the first one. And it gives you much more details and things to like kind of hate on or sink your teeth into than the first one. The first one was just like, that's it. But you're right. Art is it's more like to pun intended, refined art. I mean, there's just so much more development there, especially with the supporting characters that you get that you don't get from the first one. Like where you still get it, but you don't get it as fresh and raw. It's like they hats off to how this happened, because he refined everything that was good about the first one and dropped all the things that didn't work, right? And for the first one, that was a very short list of what didn't work, right? So the criticism that we kind of covered, no plot, it's just gore or whatever. But it's not that. It's so much more, because you see, even though Art takes a little bit more of a backstage, a little bit, you see how he develops and the evil that he represents. And I'm getting really close to spoiler territory, so I'll hand it back off to you.
Yeah. Well, that's indicative of the runtime, because the first movie, of course, he could have done the exact same thing again, maybe with Art in a different location. They did that with a lot of different slasher movies. They pretty much had the same plot each time. A fresh new batch of teenagers show up somewhere, and the villain kind of the bad guy goes through and kills them all. Or with leaving one to survive until the next movie where they get killed off, and another group of people show up. So it could have been very easy for him to just retread the same storyline again, have Art show up, and maybe at a I don't know, I was trying to come up with a wacky place for him to show up at, but a wedding, and he goes through and kills everybody. But maybe maybe go back in the Middle Ages and do a Game of Thrones Red Wedding. But no, but no, with this one, he decided to actually tell a broader story. He brings in Sienna. And then again, there's this mythology. Now the first one, there was this idea that, well, maybe Art's just this crazy psycho person just running around and killing, which at the end of spoilers of the first movie, he comes back to life after he shoots himself in the head. So there's kind of a mythological nature to him. So they wanted to expand upon that, and if you make this mythological character that can't die, what can you do to heighten the plot of this? And then so you have this character Sienna, who may or may not have these special powers that might give her an edge over art. I will mention the 4K that I watched for this. Originally, I watched it on Tubi. Shout out to Tubi. Or actually, I might have watched it on one of the other stream. I think it might have been Hoopla the first time, but I think it now is streaming on Tubi. But yeah, I saw it on the streaming service, and then I bought the 4K of it. And this has a nice slip cover, so you have the two covers to it. But it also has and this is available on Umbrella. This is exact copy, and it's on sale right now. So run over to Umbrella. It's only $27. I bought it in part of the big box set that has all of the movies and a hardback book and some postcards and posters, I think, and some stickers. So they had lots of goodies. I'll pop this back up, but yeah, you got like I said, all of the movies. You have Terrifier. You have Terrifier 3 as well, and like I said, you have the Art Attack book, which again is a hardback book with a lot of cool images in it. And then again, you have the postcards, which I'm not a big fan of, but whatever. And then you have your wacky stickers. So yeah, this is still available too. So if you want, all three of the movies in a nice collection. I don't believe this is on sale on their site, but
and we're at about 27 minutes in. So from this point forward, if you don't want spoilers, go away. I wanted to comment on that because the myth making. I have never seen a science fiction series, and I have not seen many, to be fair, where you take like a nightmare character and you meld them with like mythology, right? So like where it is so unique, and despite what I didn't want to look, but it creates this dichotomy of a very unique structure where you have the art, this redemptionless thing. And you're not sure if he's in the first one, you're not sure if he's like human or not, whatever. At the end, it perfect to detail. But it plays out very well. And I gotta say, the first one, I would not say that I was a fan per se, but the second one, like after seeing the whole thing, it's so much more refined and it's so much more to the point. And again, this goes back to Damien's prowess as a director. And the first budget was like all him. Everything you saw that made it count was him. He was the one to come in because they did it in 10 days or whatever. And this one had a little bit more legroom, but even still, he kept it economical. And normally that would be like a boring disregard thing, but holy shit. Like you get 1 and 2 is the difference between like all right, you see the freshman that has talent and can make it, and then you go to the second sophomore version and no, he did make it. Not only did he make it, he expanded on it, and he not only that, but somehow, despite like wanting to look away, you can't help but look at what you see. It draws you in a very perverse way. And we talked about the first one, and how gruesome it was. Like this one was like compact with the devil. Like in uncertain terms, and again, spoiler, we're past that point. We're at 30 minutes or so, but I just want to take how you saw it as the seasoned horror, aficionado, how did you take this, Tom? How did you reconcile 1 and 2 and maybe we'll get to 3. I don't know. Maybe I'll know about it. I don't know. But
Yeah. No, yeah, the first one again, I appreciate it for what it was, as a kind of a love letter to slasher movies. That movie and this movie very much filmed in the way they treated the film grain and everything to it, made it look like an old horror movie. It just has that feel to it, how they lit it, how they filmed it, everything. So yeah, the first one's a bit one-dimensional, but it was fun watching what was going on with that movie. I appreciated it for what it was, but yeah, the second one kind of brought everything up to a bigger level. Back in the day, I used to read a lot of horror novels, and back in the 80s, late 80s, early 90s, there was a lot of splatterpunk writers that were they got the name because they weren't squeamish about the gore and guts, but they were writing these novels that were quite intricate, or had something interesting to say. And one of the things I was always kind of disappointed with the more gory or movies that kind of try to push things to the limit back in the day was that they really didn't have a story or anything really to say beyond what the killer was doing. Some of the old Clive Barker movies kind of had a little bit more to say, and I enjoyed those for what they were. But yeah, this movie sort of kind of gets back to that Clive Barker kind of feel too, and also
that's I get that. I get that.
but but it's less he kind of focused more on kind of body horror, where this is kind of getting back into the Stephen King territory of taking
Right.
like a normal family and having these crazy things happening to them. And but yeah, there's that interesting mix of kind of the old traditional horror with the more crazy splatterpunk, but it does something uniquely its own. It kind of tells a story that hasn't really been told before, which is exciting. I can't point to another movie that's like this, that
I
has all the, there's movies that have elements of this movie to it,
right.
but there's not a movie that you
Right.
can say, oh well, this is a direct copy of this movie, because there's nothing
Well,
that's
well,
it's
what
copying.
well, it takes not only, and this is where I would lose respect for a normal horror film, like where it had just shock and awe, right? This is not that. This forces you to come back and see it, and I had to come back and see many scenes differently over time, as they were. And if you can accept it as it is, it is so much more in depth than the slasher. Like I'll just go on record and say, Tom, I've seen my share of Friday 13th and Jason and and Jason X or whatever. None of that can equal this. Which makes sense because of why it resonated with so many people. And despite my better interest, I am a sucker. Like I am an art fan.
Yeah.
I get it.
And
Like even though like it repulses me for, and we'll get into this a little bit later, like the one scene that is, and it's so crazy how it's also not fair to like take this down to like one scene and say it's just that. That's not what it is. The first one, if the first one were that and done, yeah, okay, I could see that, but no, it is so economical in how it shows you how. It's just crazy. I still don't know how to feel about it because, and that's what I like about horror, because it puts you in a place to where you see this horrific thing, and it's entertainment, and you enjoy it, but at the same time, it pushes you away.
Yeah.
I am really looking. I have to say this, but spoiler. But I'm looking forward to the third thing, and even more purposely, like we'll probably go to a fourth edition of this for the prequel. But
Mhm.
that's subject to Tom and me talking on the background. But God damn, Tom. I somehow, some way, horror is able to expand your ability to see this thing, and it's so I don't know how to put it.
There's sort of a kind of
I
a
don't know.
primal sense to it. That kind
Yes,
of taps into
yes.
yeah. There's there's that primal fear where fight or flight. It triggers all these, but
Over
it
and
does it.
over and over and
Yeah.
over. Yeah.
But it does it in a safe environment to where you could play with these emotions, but not experience them for real. But yeah, it kind of challenges you. Art art challenges you. Art can be disturbing. It can be
I
challenging, and I think that's sort of the double entendre of art's
I
name is yeah.
I don't have like a pacifier per se, but like I will say that like when I was watching this alone with no kiddos can't see this.
No, yeah.
No, they can't see this, but
uh,
I did find myself um going through my checklist of safety, right? So like you have like, okay, the doors are locked, the garage is locked, and like it's
mhm.
like, okay, if this happens, where's my thing? Which is such an intimate experience for I just Tom, I don't have any words, man. I really thought that I would nope out, to be honest with you, before
Uh-huh.
we even we started this. Like, okay, the first one I can
Yeah,
dig, whatever, but
right.
this one, I liked it more than the first one for many different reasons because it expanded on that and it did it in a way that was eloquent and articulate to like where
Mhm.
if you stick with it, oh
Mhm.
man.
Yep.
It's a good surprise, like in a bad way, in a good way.
Right. Yeah. And I will say that, like I said, the 4K that I watched it on, it did have a commentary track by Damien, and he gets into the mythology and he actually talks about what each scene means. So if you want to dig in a little bit deeper on the mythology and maybe spoil a little bit for future movies, definitely check out that commentary. I found it very interesting. He did talk about David Lynch and talk about the benefit of how David Lynch wouldn't talk about the meaning of his stuff because that kind of talking about what everything meant kind of takes away the mystery, the dreamlike aspect of the story.
Hmm.
And he appreciates that, but he didn't mind kind of getting into the nuts and bolts of his story because you could tell that he's so excited about what he's telling and that he wants to share it with everybody. So yeah, so he gets a little bit more into a little bit of a. He talked about how important that dream sequence is early on in the movie. He talks about how that is, some people might just take it, oh, that's just a dream sequence, maybe reminiscent of, Nightmare on Elm Street and whatnot. But it's
But
really,
but
yeah.
but it is its own unique thing
Mhm,
that expands on the.
mhm.
Yeah, go on, go on.
Hmm.
Sorry.
But yeah, but yeah. So there's that aspect of Sienna. She's sort of like this angel-like character that maybe is the counterpoint of art, and he takes the dream sequence as more of a kind of an initiation of Sienna. Maybe these outer forces that are maybe aligning against art are kind of putting Sienna to the test
Hmm.
through this dream and seeing if she's got what it takes. And the fact that she reaches into that cereal box and
Right.
gets her hands in there and gets into real pain. But she instead of running away and flight, she goes in and actually pulls out her sword, which he said at the beginning of this whole thing, it was just a sword, but with her kind of anointing it with the dream, with fire, it becomes something more than what it was.
Well,
But that was sort of like the pivotal moment where she kind of rises to the occasion and becomes more than herself.
well, that I think that's what is the redeeming value of the whole thing. Like where you have that dichotomy of pure evil, which
Yeah.
you were not for sure. And the first one, art is this malevolent force, evil for sure. Um,
Mhm.
but again, like you said, he comes back to life, and it's like, okay, we're not dealing with a we're not dealing with the standard rules of
Yeah.
reality.
He's not like a serial killer that's just running around killing
Right. It's not like,
it.
yeah, it's just not Dexter, like with the
Mhm.
plastic and all that, like that. That's
Yeah.
its own thing,
Yeah, and
but
and
um,
it's interesting also
elevates it
because
quite a bit.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and Art isn't like your average killer anyway. He's not he may have mommy issues, but they're not at the forefront. He seems to have like this childish childlike nature to him that he just enjoys killing. He's got this. And also I kind of wonder, even with the dream sequence, I start to wonder, is this how Art sees the world, through this sort of this kind of playground? What does Art actually see through his eyes? Is it this kind of a fun land, kind of childlike, bright colors? Does he actually see things the way we see things?
Well,
Um,
or are you in his world?
right. Yeah.
Like that's like that. That's the thing, and you don't get that with Friday the 13th, 1 through 10, whatever.
Yeah.
Like you get there eventually, but like how this does it is so, again, economical, like in a good way. It really is remarkable, and it pulled me in as a horror fan.
Mhm.
No thanks to you.
Yeah. Yeah, there's and Art's kind of this weird amalgamation of the very various sort of horror icons. He's kind of a silent killer like Michael Myers or a Jason Voorhees, but he has the personality of a Freddy Krueger. He's very expressive. And
Fuck
the cool
yeah.
thing about Art is, with all these other killers, they kind of have to be kind of creeping around in the shadows, but he could walk around everyday situations, especially on
So
Halloween, and get away with it.
so bizarre, but it fits so well with what they're doing for sure.
Yeah, no, this the scene in the Halloween store, which we're showing here, that's, I think, is one of my favorite scenes in this whole movie. Just
Oh,
his whole
right.
interplay. um,
Go on,
there's
go on.
a happy accident in this whole sequence in the Halloween store, in that he when Sienna's
All
down.
weapons. Yeah.
Yeah, when Sienna's downstairs and she comes up to pay her for her stuff, they accidentally the actress accidentally leaves her purse down there and doesn't bring it with her, and they were trying to figure out a way to how is she going to pay for it. She left her purse, and the David, who's the actor of Art, he goes, I'll just bring it to her. I'll just throw it on the counter. Art will take it to her. So I always thought that was kind of a fun thing there, where Art's this evil killer, but he actually he actually brought her purse. It's kind of
Well,
crazy.
that's where it reels you in to like the small parts, like where it's like I don't know how to describe it. I was going to do a fishing thing, but you get pulled in over and over again, and like, oh my God, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, and there's another scene where Art meets the Pell Girl for the first time in the laundromat scene, and that scene's grotesque, but also just a fun scene to watch. Where they're doing a little patty cake. Again, it kind of reinforces the childlike nature of Art. He's just looking to have a good time, whether it's playing patty cake or deconstructing a human body. But yeah, the little Pell girl in this movie, she originally was going to look a little bit differently. She was inspired by Spirits of the Dead by Fellini. That movie that Fellini did about 3 different Edgar Allan Poe stories. There's a devil girl in one of the stories, and she had like a sundress and flowers in her hair, and was going to be what she looked like in this movie. But he started to see the Halloween prior to them filming. He started seeing all these pictures that fans of the movie Terrifier 1 were sending him on social media of them dressing up in their art inspired costumes, and there was a lot of girls that were kind of dressing up, and he thought that's such a cool idea and cool look that I got to jump on that and put it in this movie. So that's why the little girl gets kind of made over to sort of like the she's kind of like the opposite side.
Freak.
The coloring of her outfit's sort of the opposite of Art's. And if you look closely, her teeth are a bit different in that her upper teeth and bottom teeth are swapped. So there's sort of like this off-putting thing. He wanted that kind of. You may not notice it, but there's kind of like a subconscious or off-putting kind of look to her just because of that. Which is very interesting.
It goes to reinforce the whole point of like up, up is down, down is up, like
Mm-hmm,
it works very well. Like
mm-hmm,
this would not survive if it were any other way it was
mm-hmm.
made.
Yeah, yeah. No, I kind of got tired. There was a few during the torture porn era of the early 2000s where Hostel and these various movies that and Saw, where it was just nonstop, torture and gore and everything for an hour and a half. Those movies kind of wore thin on me a little bit, just because they were nonstop, very oppressive, very ugly movies. Whereas this movie, there's some gore and horrible things that happen in these movies, but he knows how to balance it out.
Right.
There's Art doing something a little goofy that makes you laugh, and then then the next scene he's goring someone out or decapitating them. There's a balance there, and there's like this almost perverse sort of uh kind of interest that you have as to what is Art going to do now. you know
Well, well, that's the balance that is art. You can't predict what you may think what you what you're gonna do, but like, and of course, I don't have a good rope of loop of friends that would watch this with me, but
yeah.
even still, it is shocking. And it's crazy because it takes the shocking level to a point to like where it's a hammer to your head. I don't know how to put
Mhm.
it, but like, but you still are in it because you still don't root for the,
Yeah.
you still want to root for it, but at the end of the day, uh, based on the first one, there are no rules. Like I have
Mhm.
for years, I have said and counseled that there are rules to some movies, noir or giallo or horror, but this is truly the first one that like just takes that and dumps it out. Like it's like nope. Again, like you talk about humor. Okay, I played that thing like where he's with the video guy or whatever, and he's like putting the beer bottle and the chain and the thing. You know, it's like you just. Again, I think the most pivotal scene in the first one was like when they were in the Subway shop or the pizza shop or whatever, and like where he's like flirting with the two women, and he gets in your space, and he slides in there, and it's so unassuming. You accept it, and then oh my god, like that's the whole movie in a nutshell, like in a way.
Yeah, and the fact that he's dressed like a clown and he's being very childlike, there's
Ridiculous,
a sense,
like you don't take it seriously, like
exactly.
it's palpable for the characters that are not taking him seriously. Is a whole other level, but go on. Sorry.
There's so that like that childlike nature to him. I mean, you realize through watching him, that's the way he kind of ingratiates himself with the characters in the movie and the audience. I mean, he does have a bit of a charm to him, so that when he does something transgressive, where he does kill somebody, there's that overwhelming shock by the characters in the movie, but also yourself, and then you go, oh, how could Art do this? But then he goes on and he does something goofy in the next scene, and you're right back with him, So he's got that that abusive spouse that you can't say no to, but
I do not have words for how I feel about how the only thing I can say is that you have to watch it. You have to, if you go along with us with the challenge and you challenge yourself to watch the first one, it's brutal, but if you can make it through it and you can see the good parts, the entertainment parts, and you get to the second one, I don't think that there's another series of movies where the sequel usually is a stinker, right?
or not as good,
right, but this is such a different thing than what we're used to dealing with, because it does bridge that gap if you give it time. And I love how it does it on its own terms and its own way. And I don't know, man, like like you can hate 99% of this movie, but that 1%, if you come back, I don't know. I still don't know how to put it. And I am on the road, like Tom mentioned, but I have seen this at least 2 times, because the first one was like a slog, right? Like, well, not quite a slog, but almost there, right? Like I don't know, man. But and when me and Tom talk on the back end, like I was like, well, I'm good for seeing the second one for sure. And I'm so glad I stuck around for the second one, because it really sets up the show. And I gotta say, I hate to say it, Tom, but I'm excited for the third. The first one you may nope out on, but like if you stick with it, like you want to see what happens with this thing, because it is not like it is unlike the 80s slasher horror films. It is not stupid Jason X, whatever. Like, and that was fine. I saw that in the theater, but whatever. But like, it is refreshing. If you're open to being scared shitless and horrified or terrified, I guess it would be the better adjective. But go ahead, Tom.
But yeah, I was gonna say that yeah, it it's good in that yeah, it pushes its protagonist to the extreme, so that when there's a win on their side, it's so much more satisfying. And you know, it's earned at that point, you know. It's sort of like you're like,
Mhm.
yes, you know, when things finally turn the tide. However, you know, there's you know, art's not done yet, so you know, there's that's still that kind of a thing in the behind. But yeah, just
Well,
we've kind of what were you gonna say?
well, I was just saying, like, even
Mhm.
though it's number two, it still leaves you curious to that.
Yeah, he doesn't
And
explain everything. Yeah.
well, I love it from the standpoint that I do not think that I have ever experienced a sequel for a film or a series to like where it really forces you to come back in to see more. Like I don't I mean you have you know Indiana Jones, you have I don't think that there is something like this that we've ever seen
Right.
modern media
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
where it is unique on its own terms and it delivers. It fucking delivers. Like you just have to stick with it. And if you are in the horror genre, you are going to be very happy, like
Yeah.
and
That's
horrified, terrified. You know.
yeah. And I did mention like in the last our last podcast that you know, a lot of slasher movies, the thing that engages most of the fans are the mythology and mythology behind Freddy Krueger, the mythology behind Jason Voorhees, Michael Myers. The bad
Right.
thing is these movies were made by these studios that were making them for the money, and then so the creators didn't were like different from movie to movie for the most part. Wes Craven wasn't there the whole time for the Freddy Krueger series. You know, he was in and out at various points. So that the mythology gets kind of muddled. You know, whatever came before that first movie, the second movie, you know, rewrites some of the mythology, so it gets real muddled, and there's no clear storyline to where that, you know, sure, there's interesting things that happen, and you know, my favorite of the slasher movies is Nightmare on Elm Street because it goes into these very interesting directions. But the mythology is very muddled. You know, it's confusing. It doesn't tell a clear story, whereas this movie, you know, it's done by a fan of the horror movie genre, that understands slasher movies. He knows what works in a slasher movie. He also knows the frustrations that that slasher fans have had over the years, and he is in a enviable position to where he gets to make these movies the way he wants to, you know, without these usually studios. You know, it's done by committee. You know,
Right.
there's like,
Right.
you know, there's
Right.
certain
Right. Yep.
concessions that a
Yep.
artist has to make,
Preach.
and
Yep.
that's yeah, and that's not the case here. So, you know, it lives and dies by Damien Leone. So if you know, he gets to bask
Mhm.
in the overwhelming praise if he gets to pull off this epic series that he's creating. You know, if he stumbles and falls, it'll fall onto him. But you know,
Right.
I have faith in him. You know, he hasn't disappointed me so far, and it's very exciting. Yeah, you watch the
You're
movie,
right. You're
you're
right.
excited. You're like, okay, what's happening next? You know,
You
um,
you can't help but get the heart palpitations, the
mhm.
the 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 beating heart of like what will happen. I mean, um, I will go so far as to say that like any 80s, I don't care. The classics.
Mhm.
Terrifier, best all of them. Period. In discussion.
Mhm.
Like and this is pivotal to me because I can speak with somewhat authority on this because you have the Friday the 13th and you have Jason and you have Freddy Krueger. I was more on the Nightmare on Elm Street fan, whatever, and I
Mhm.
still love those films, but like
Mhm.
and those still I still enjoy those like in my own way.
Mhm.
But Terrifier is next level. Like if you,
Yeah.
it is. Yeah, go ahead, Tom.
Oh yeah, yeah. I was going to touch upon different things that little different points that I like about the movie. I like the fact that there's a lot of synth pop bands in this movie. The music, there is a guy who did the music, the score, but a lot of the music is handpicked by the director of different synth pop bands that are, you know, obviously was inspired by John Carpenter and his many different soundtracks. But yeah,
Oh
there's that
yeah.
that you know yeah, that synth wave sort of you know, keyboard driven you know, music that is just classic to these 80s horror movies, that gives you that the 80s vibe. But again, like we said with the previous movie, Damien's not afraid to use technology. You know, there's you know, cell phones all over the place in this movie. You know, one of the challenges of a horror movie is cell phones. You know, you have a phone
Right.
at handy, whereas, you know,
At the
back in the
ready.
70s
Right.
and 80s, there was that isolation aspect of a lot of situations where you didn't have access to a phone. And but
It,
yeah, he does do this quite well.
well, back in the old days, it was cheap and easy, right?
Mhm.
And I think that Terrifier brings that into the modern realm, and it. I don't know. I don't know. I would say, if you've never seen 80s slasher horror, don't bother. Um, Go to, well, I'll leave it to Tom at the end of the show to say if you see the prequels maybe first, or I will say this: go see Terrifier 1,
Mhm.
and if you have the stomach, wait for the second one, because it pays off. Like I didn't necessarily get the payoff in the first one, but the
Mhm.
second one, absolutely, I got the payoff. Like I got it. I got it. I'm like, I don't know how to put it other than that. And I am, relative to Tom, I am new to, horror genre,
Mhm.
the thing. And there are so many good horror films that we've covered over the years.
Yep.
But this one is, I'm so glad you saved this in reserve for. It is, the first one you can absolutely write off, right? If you want to be that cheap, that's fine. Write
Mhm.
off, but you're shorting yourself if you don't go see this film. Like,
Yeah,
it
yeah, and it's
is unlike any other that I have experienced. I just can't, because again, Tom, I came into the horror genre because of slasher, horror, blood, lots of blood, you know, yeah,
yeah.
scared teenagers, blah blah blah. No. This is horror's way of redeeming that. God damn it,
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
have the right words. So
Yeah.
anyway,
And there's a sense of yeah, some horror movies could be you know, it's called misogynist because a lot of them are. This movie, I don't see that. You know, art's equal opportunity killer.
didn't
You know, he
care,
doesn't.
didn't care.
He has. I told you like last time. He's not perverted in the sense that you know, there doesn't seem like a sexual turn on for him on these things.
Right.
It's just he just enjoys the act of killing, whether it be male or female, and you know, there wasn't a real strong female presence in the first movie. You know, there were female characters that did, you know, things that, you know, but ultimately, you know, art got the better of all of them. So, in this movie with Sienna, she is a force to be reckoned with. And a lot of times in a horror movie or in a an adventure movie or an action movie, when a female character is, you know, fighting somebody, you know, sometimes you know, you see them, you know, they're so small and petite. Sometimes you're like, yeah, okay, I'll believe it for the movie, but in real life, I don't see this happening in real life. Yeah, this little girl doing what's going on the screen. Yeah, okay, yeah, movie magic. Okay, in this
Well,
movie, I don't know. She had such a force to her. I believed her, you know, even if maybe if
well,
she, you know, there's like
well.
this energy behind her that when she was fighting, you got the sense that yeah, she was
Well,
doing, you know.
well, and we didn't cover the metadata on this, but like 2022, this came out, right?
Yeah,
Thereabouts.
2022. Yep.
Tell me how they can make something in 2022 that surpasses all the modern, you know, the things that are so positive. It's a horror film. I get it. Everybody dies, right? Whatever. But
Right.
at the same time, um, this has a very strange redeeming quality to the you know it is an experience that you have to see for yourself. I will put that way.
Yeah, and I will say, yeah, it came out in 2022. It started filming in 2019. I will say, COVID, the pandemic is responsible for many bad things, but it did actually have an impact on this movie. It was almost done filming. They were in the middle of filming the. We're in spoiler territory, so the pivotal scene where he's killing one of Sienna's friends. It's a 3 minute, although it feels like it goes on for an hour, but it's only 3 minutes. Uh, but but COVID hit. It was only a 2 day film shoot that was scheduled for it. They weren't real happy with how it was turning out. They went in lockdown, so so Damien had all this free time to work on that kill
Oh my
scene.
God.
So
Dude.
COVID inadvertently is responsible for that scene in all its glory,
Yeah. Yeah.
because
Yeah.
they got to, and they spent, I don't know, maybe 3 weeks on that scene when they
Well,
got back.
well, this is a general thing, rule of thumb for this series. Like, you
Hmm.
cannot be faint of heart. Like, I mean, you have to take
Hmm.
you got to take you take the bad with the worst. You're not
Yeah.
taking the good with the bad because it doesn't exist, but you're taking the bad with the worst. But it fits in with the mythology that you are laid down with,
Uh-huh.
that the first movie kind of hinted at.
Hmm.
But it didn't go through all the way, like
Hmm.
last scene, whatever, blah blah. But god damn.
Yeah.
What did you get me into, Tom? God
I know.
damn it.
What's so fascinating for me is like with the first movie, with the person that survives in that movie, her face gets eaten off by Art the Clown,
Fuck.
and that's inspired directly from you remember that ape attack,
Hmm.
that so many years ago, where the ape kind of took off this woman's face.
Right.
So yeah, and that's sort of what, in the back of my mind, and also what, that is what I thought of when I saw her, and that in the commentary that Damien did on that movie that I listened to, that's what inspired him. So there's like that direct connection there, that he's taking real life things that people will get triggered by, and that really kind of drives that. And in this scene, where Art's mutilating this girl,
Right.
there's like the end result where where her body's on the bed, and he took that from he was reading the crime reports of Jack the Ripper, one of his kill
Oh,
scenes,
right, right, right,
and
right, right.
that was sort of directly inspired by that, and that makes
Fucked
sense.
up.
That make total sense when he said that, and I saw that. It's like, okay, yeah, that clicks in, and obviously that kind of clicks in your mind, this real life thing, that you can examine and appreciate for what it is on the screen, whereas if they did that, in real life, it would totally, take you out of the thing, and totally not, you couldn't appreciate for what it is on the screen. I don't know. There's like that. I don't know. He rides that line. There's certain people that can say or do things on the screen, that makes it palpable, just barely, to make it
Right.
palpable to where you're not lost. Is you don't nope out. And yeah, and some people do nope out. I mean, obviously, but so there's the people that can make it through a Terrifier movie and appreciate it for what it is sort of like a tribe. And I'm happy that you were able to to experience it and come along with us on this ride,
I
because
I I was right on the line until like the third through the movie, and I was like, all right, I get it. Like, but I will say that negligence for me. You have some links that you want to share, right? For you, and you promoted this at the beginning, but like,
yeah.
go get it, go get it. $27, go get it.
Yeah,
th-
it's yeah, so like I said, if you want just the movies, I think they're all on sale for about $27, so you get all three of them individually. The however, the box set that I got is $95, so that's, if you buy all three of them, that's almost that much anyway. So
right.
yeah, that might be the best way to go, because you get, I have to say, I'm not a shill with Umbrella's not paying me, but this is a very nice box set. I mean, you're used to like this, what studios put out of these box set, which is flimsy cardboard. This is solid cardboard. I mean, you can't really squeeze it too much, bang it up. It's very nice to on your shelf. I mean, yeah, it's a really nice looking thing, and they're numbered. It's limited, so I think there's 30,000 of them. So they may not be in risk of selling out at the moment, but eventually they will. So eventually, obviously maybe go up in price since they're limited. So, but yeah, and again, there's a book that comes along with it too, so that may be worth the extra shekels on that. But yeah, also I did read, because we had a couple of weeks to prepare for it. I did read the novelization of the second book. There's not a novelization of the first one. However, they did adapt it into a comic book. I tried to look to see if it was available, but evidently it's a limited run, and the only ones I saw on sale were, I think, on eBay for thousands of dollars. So, so good luck trying to find that. But the novelization, I picked it up at Barnes and Nobles. I gave Mike the link to the Barnes and Nobles. It's sold on Amazon, but we're not Amazon cucks, so you do you if you want to get it on Amazon. But it's kind of a
Well,
cool.
shame on me because there it is, there it is, there it
There
is.
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have to say, it's kind of a fun read. I don't know if it's uh, I don't know if Damien puts his seal of approval over it. It did get published, so I think so. But you do kind of get into Art's head, and there's a couple of scenes. I won't spoil them in case you want to read it, but they do not, at the beginning of the movie, him and the Pell Girl are riding around in a van with a white, black van with a white hood. It gets into where that van came from and how he got it, uh, which is very interesting. It's almost like a short story in and of itself. So that's kind of a fun little read there. There's an extra scene at the beginning where he kills off the coroner. The EMT guys come back and meet up with Art as well. So there's a little bit more gore in there. And there's a couple more scenes in this that are added. Again, there's a little bit of extra stuff that is added at the end with Sienna and her resurrection, and some ghostly spirits that might help her along. So, again, interesting. Yeah, if you're a big Terrifier fan and want to read more, I don't know if they're gonna novelize the third book or third movie, but this is an interesting read. Yeah, if you're a fan and want to read more, definitely recommend it. So yeah, it's 400 pages, but very large print. It's a quick read. But yeah, I got through it pretty quick. And again, it's written by Tim Waggoner. He's won some horror awards as a writer. So he's very much a competent writer, very engaging. So yeah, definitely worth checking out. It doesn't stray too much from the movie. I think it was written after the movie, so it was, that's sort of like the skeleton of the book, and then he just adds on a little bit of extra stuff. So again, it doesn't stray from the movie, but adds a little bit to it from little different scenes and adds a little bit more. You kind of get into the heads of the characters and get a little bit more of the motivations for the various characters.
Yeah, this is the I understand why people like this. I didn't quite get it on the first one, but the second one, I'm still I'm still in shock, in a good way, way.
Yep.
I'm really looking forward to what's the challenge next week?
The challenge next week, Terrifier 3, right?
We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, there's a couple of things I'd like to mention. In the club scene, Jeff, the boyfriend of one of Sienna's friends, shows up in a sheet, a ghost. He's dressed up like a ghost in a sheet. That's a tribute to the first Halloween movie. There's a character that dresses up like that, so there's kind of a nod to that. Also in the club, the eagle-eyed person might notice that the guy that does a selfie with Sienna is wearing a movie shirt, which is from Kevin Smith, his Kevin Smith Askew-averse thing. So shout out to Kevin Smith. He didn't really say anything on the commentary about that, but yeah, I'm sure Kevin Smith probably inspired him as an independent filmmaker from Kevin's experiences. And also, there's a scene where with a shotgun blast through a windshield on poor old mom, which is sort of a tribute to Tom Savini's Maniac movie, which Tom Savini is very much a mentor to Damien. And so, yeah, he's very much appreciative of him and let him know that scene was in there as a tribute to him. And yeah, there's just a couple of odds and ends that I like. There's I love that art. At one point, he kind of cross-dressed a little bit in the first movie to the dismay of probably the audience, but in this movie, he got into mom mode with an apron and cooked up some mashed potatoes. A very wholesome scene. And I liked towards the end of the movie, there's sort of a big reveal. They're in a chapel, a haunted house. Also, the haunted house is a real haunted house, Fright Factory in Philadelphia, and they didn't modify it that much. So if you wanted to experience the end of the movie in that same haunted house, I thought for sure they had constructed that haunted house, but no, it is as it is, except for I think the bathroom scene. They added a little bit more fake poop and blood on the walls, and added the art was here on there. But other than that, everything was pretty much the same. There's like a little scene that they do in the chapel portion of it, and Art, springs up behind Jonathan and has a hood on, and he does that big reveal. And Damien said that was inspired by Darth Maul. It's Darth Art, kind of revealing himself.
Yeah, I hate to say this, but I probably want to get a art doll.
You need a little art in your life.
Well, fuck you, Tom, for bringing this shit to me. But thank you, Tom, also for bringing this to me. But yeah, you know, if you are like me and you are newly initiated to horror, I would say that horror, well, Terrifier 1 is not you don't gotta be a super complex, whatever. You don't gotta know nothing. You go in there and it's its own ride. You know, how you take it is what you take it. But if you can stick around for the second one, it makes as weird and as strange as it is, and as fucking peculiar as art is. Like, fuck. Like,
Yeah.
God damn.
Yeah, and there's again, art is fun in and of himself. There's a scene towards the end that they forgot to film. That they the reason why the girl, one of Sienna's friends, was smoking throughout the movie at different points was the gag at the end when she gets killed by Art. Art was supposed to pull out a cigarette and take a smoke off of it, almost like after having sex or something. The kill was so good that he had to have a little smoke afterwards. But then they forgot to film that, so or they didn't get a chance to. So yeah, Damien was saying that was one of his regrets. Not getting that on film. But yeah, they did do a lot of cool fun things. Like, again, my one of my favorite scenes in the movie, at the beginning, where he's in the haunted the costume shop, where he's going through and putting on all the various sunglasses and doing his little wacky poses with them. Damien said that David went through a whole bunch. They just gave him a bunch of different sunglasses, and they just filmed him doing various things, and then Damien got to go through and pick out his favorites. So yeah, there was I think some Groucho Marx glasses as well that he had that didn't make the cut. But yeah, I know that a lot of people have got those sunflower glasses that Art has in that as a tribute to him. But yeah, so yeah, I think that's I think everything I was really wanting to cover on it.
Yeah, I was gonna say final caboose at all, or anything else?
I did want to bring up something controversial that might upset Art here. My big question is Art really a clown? Because he's more of a mime, I think. Don't you think? He has the classic coloring of a mime. He doesn't speak. There could be, reason to. Art might have something to say to me later, but yeah.
Well, I was gonna.
And what's more terrifying than a mime, And he signs it as Art. It's not Art the clown, so could very well. Yeah, the big end reveal at the end of this series may be that he's actually a mime. You don't know. Don't know.
We don't know. Well,
yeah,
and with that, I will say I made it through. Will I make it through 3? I don't know. I haven't seen it yet. Tom is waiting for me to.
I did want to ask you. You did catch. I didn't tell you to stay through the credits. You did see the mid-credit scene, right, with Chris Jericho, wrestling extraordinaire guy in there.
Yeah,
the
it
psychiatric.
was. Yeah, I didn't ascribe much to it. I just kind of treated it as a extra treat.
Yeah.
Because well, 1 to 2, is what it is. But
Yeah.
I strangely, and fuck you, Tom. I want to see. I want to see the third one, and
Yep.
we'll see if we extend this series to maybe something else. We'll see. Right
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, 3. We'll hit up 3 next week. Yeah, and it's it'll be fun. Christmas theme, Christmas in the summer or spring, right? But yeah, from what I understand, Damien said there's going to at least be 4 or maybe 5 movies. So 4 may wrap things up. It may not. The exciting thing is that now that we're both potentially fans, we may even see the 4th one in the theater. So get a live reaction from us day one.
Well, you're gonna have to wait and see till
Mhm.
next week what my answer is, because I might say, "Fuck you, Tom. You have ruined my life, and you drove away my kids and my wife." No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No, not really. But uh, regardless, we are at that stage of the game where we should be plugging our stuff. So I will say, if you want more original content and long form discussion on the movies that matter the most, and Tom will agree with me on this, you will only find it on the First, the Last, the Nerdom.
And with 250 videos at this point, we've got plenty to choose from.
I'm not gonna lie, man. I am not afraid to wag my tail and say that I know better than you for what to see. By and large, if I can remember what we've seen. But thankfully, I have a very vast. Tom and I have a very vast video library. But what would you know if you don't see these things? These things are for your benefit, and I would say, subscribe to the First Lesson Nerdom. Give us a like. If you don't like what we say, why? But in that vein, we are also on Reddit, like Tom. Tom is dutifully, God bless you, Tom. I can't stand Reddit. It is what it is. Well, it's social media in general, but there's that.
Yep, and I will be promoting us on X, formerly known as Twitter. but yeah, promoting our stuff. Like I said, I also promote our stuff on Reddit, which you may have been inspired from Reddit to check us out. And Mike, you're
oh shit!
He's got his own. Yeah.
Well, I'm also available on X, and really, X is where you can find me and Tom for a long form discussion. I'm not saying that we can't join you, meet you halfway on YouTube, but where you're at. So where you at, dog? But all joking aside, wanted to push this out. America's Talk Show, a little bit more lighter form. Heavy thing, come as you are, totally available, and my ApeIt.Ink on Substack. But more importantly, the First, the Last, Nerdom. We want you, the viewer, to tell us what you want us to see or review or talk about in the upcoming months. We have our own machinations of what we want to do, but we would love to hear from you.
Yeah.
I know Tom. I speak for Tom on authority. Let us know. Let us know.
Yep.
Give us a comment, thumbs up, thumbs down. That's cool too. Hey, maybe you don't like Terrifier. Tell me why you don't like it. Because I was very much in the camp of, and Tom knows this on the back end, I have walked away from horror movies. Well, one horror movie before where I was done, and maybe that's a 100,000K subscriber thing, like where I revisit the one that I walk away from. We'll see. We have a long way to go from there, but all the same, we love you out there, and we wish that you would join us and see these wonderful films that we bring to you, our comic books, or media, or whatever. And take it away, Tom.
Yeah, and I can't help but say that maybe we're inspiring bigger channels, because I was watching a podcast on Mega 64, and they're a couple of the guys on there are forcing one of their co-workers to watch Terrifier 3 on their Patreon. They're putting it behind a paywall.
We will never do that to you.
Yeah, where I was going to say, we won't do that. check us next week. Yeah, and we'll fulfill the promise of us if Mike can make it through Terrifier 3.
God damn. And we will have maybe we'll have extra innings for the Terrifier franchise. We'll see.
Yep.
Stick around and you'll know.
Yep. For all your horror clown related news, check our channel.
Indeed. I've been Mike.
I'm Tom, and this has been also Art, and he's ready for his political commentary, but unfortunately we ran out of time. So we'll have to see you next week.
Well, let me hold the affiliates. Hold on. All right. The affiliates are hold. Art, go ahead and take us away for what you think about politics. I'm Mike.
I'm Tom.
And that's Tom. And that's Art. And he's going to get your soul.
Yep. He's coming for